the Caribbean.
We've done so much navel-gazing in this country.
So that was a lie.
You're right, our king represents way more than just Little Britain. But we keep on saying, oh, he's copying, or it's just like Diana. I was speaking to the most extraordinary woman today, Helen Lewis. Her son, Aaron Lewis, dies in Afghanistan. She helped set up the Aaron Lewis Foundation, doing all the kind of work that overlaps with Harry. She consistently was just chatting away. She had no idea I have an interest in royalty. We were talking about something separate. And she actually said at these commemorative events, you tend to go around on a bit of a circuit. And, you know, my grandson's called Harrison. And
what? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And we often see Prince Harry, he's, ever since he was young, working alongside Prince Philip, he's had the most extraordinary ability to reach children. He then tapped up my grandson and, you know, made sure he knew
What does that have
Archie,
to do with the debate?
Because the point is Harry has a gift. And it might make us all feel uncomfortable, but it was there before he left the royal family. We often talked about it, Harry's charisma. You can't implant it in someone, you can't force it on someone.
But that's
he has
not...
it, and what upsets you is you're seeing it used in a way that you feel undermines the royal family.
Once again,
wait for it.
You weirdly, I think deliberately misconstrue what upsets me.
No.
It's got nothing to do with him being charismatic around children, right?
It does, because actually that's part of the brand and it's very powerful.
My anger towards the pair of them for the last few years has all been because of the damage they're doing the royal family and the monarchy.
But that was obvious that was going to happen, so why didn't the royal family try and work towards a half-in, half-out?
Piers, when you talk about the damage they have done to the royal family, let me play devil's advocate. And
wait for it.
If you're right that they have damaged the royal family, hasn't Sarah just explained to us that actually that isn't the case, and that they're riding high in the polls, and that
they're not. Who are you talking about?
King Charles.
Oh, the other.
Stop it.
Royals,
yes,
right.
the other royals, and so any damage that they're said to have caused, actually, it hasn't impacted.
Let me respond.
It hasn't impacted in the way
there are
that
other
you
polls
think it has.
about the actual.
And so there is no rivalry
Fine.
here.
Let me respond. You're missing the point. Support for the monarchy is falling.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
so actually, look at those polls.
That's a different
Sarah's
topic,
talking about individual popularity of members of the royal family.
That's what I'm talking
but if you
about.
look at overall support for the royals, particularly amongst young people, it is falling.
And
Gentlemen, we got him.
Exactly? And is that Harry and Meghan's fault?
I think a lot of it.
I mean, that is
a lot of it.
It's also partly the
fault
fault of people like you.
The point is,
it's also partly the fault of people like you because you drive this great divide between the generations, between the two camps.
It's not me trashing his family.
No, but you are very vocal on the right and centre media.
I didn't call the royal family a bunch of callous racists.
The issue that you
with
have
no
raised
evidence.
is about the trouble that the royal family have with coming to terms with the part they played in colonialism.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Harry and Meghan are a tiny part of that, and to suggest that somehow...
Paula, that is so disingenuous.
To suggest that somehow Harry and Meghan have swayed...
What are you talking about, man?
Bride in royal history going to a country like Nigeria is not somehow going to be damaging, given how estranged she is from the family.
They were invited there from September.
They should have said no.
Why?
Because they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. These rival tours.
You?
No, they shouldn't be doing it.
And it would suit who?
I thought they fled.
Are doing a marvellous
I thought they didn't want to do a life of royal duty.
Nice.
What I don't understand is, what are they allowed to do? You don't
want. Turned out they do if they're making money.
I didn't understand
they're making money.
What they said.
If it promotes their brand and they make money, we're in. Oh yeah.
What are they allowed to do, Piers? You don't want them making jam. You don't want them going on tours. You don't want them trashing their family. What do you want them to do?
Actually, they can make jam. They can do podcasts, they can do TV, they can do speeches, they can do it all, just not as members of the royal family. No longer Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Stop it.
Charities. It's about supporting their charities. They were there
How can you trash an institution but keep the titles and make money off them?
Charity. That's why they were there.
How can you keep the titles and make money from an institution that you say you hate?
September.
Are you serious?
So long before anybody knew about the sad news in
Piers
terms
has
of the
I
King's
think
bring
there's a
in
level of hypocrisy here that Piers picks up and upsets him, and there is validity to that. There is a level of hypocrisy.
Of course.
It
Come on now, dog.
is a little bit uncomfortable, but you could
We
say
don't
they
want to be
earned it.
constrained by royal life, but here's our royal life.
Harry did his time in the institution. He's walked free and he's kept his title. Once a prince, always a prince, Piers. It's a shame you weren't born.
I couldn't. Literally, I come from Sussex. I've spent more time there at the weekend than he and his wife have spent,
Yes.
I think, in their lives.
But you're a pleb and he's a prince.
I'm not
Tough luck,
pleb.
mate.
I'm actually a Piers of the realm. Let me bring back Kinsey. Kinsey, what is the American view of these two?
Wait for it. Here it comes.
When I was there, all they wanted to talk about was how is King Charles and how is Kate. But what is the American view, do you think, just generally, of Meghan and Harry?
Here it comes.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you that the American view is that you are a prince, Piers. You're
Thank you.
America's
Thank you,
prince.
Kinsey.
You know, I think that they're having a really hard time here in the States, specifically in Hollywood, because they have been turned into a punchline. They have been turned into a joke. You know, Saturday Night Live is a very liberal institution.
Wait for it.
And even, you know, Harry and Meghan aren't safe from Weekend Update regularly. They're taking shots at them on a regular basis on Saturday Night Live. I know you've seen South Park and some of these other shows. And
Stop it.
I think that they really they loathe the fact that they have become a joke in the States and in Hollywood because they want to be taken seriously. That's why this tour was so important to him, or to both of them. I think.
Are you serious?
That they want to be considered serious individuals.
Yeah, well, actually, what they want to do is re-cement their royal credentials because that's where the money is. If they don't have them and they can't do what they just did in Nigeria,
Please, no! No! No!
then there's no point to them. They've done the trashing. People are bored with that. There's nothing left to trash. So they've trashed both their families. They're estranged from both sets of families on both sides. Pretty much the only family member they talk to seems to be her mother. That's it. On either side, it's quite extraordinary. And yet they are out there preaching about compassion and family and all these things. I'm not laughing. It's like, this is a joke.
And gentlemen, we got him.
Literally can't think of two less compassionate people on God's earth. Anyway, let's turn to something probably less contentious, or maybe not, which is the new portrait of King Charles by an old friend of mine, actually, Jonathan Yeo. A great guy, son of a former Tory MP. And this was the unveiling where Charles got to see this very vivid, kind of blood red image. I thought Charles's head was fantastic in terms of the detail. And little details like a little butterfly on the shoulder, what that meant. Now, it sparked a lot of memes. Let's have a bit of a laugh first.
That doesn't make sense.
The comedic memes that have been born out of this portrait. King Charles painting reminds me of the Ghostbusters Vigo villain, said Mark Harris. Trevor Sumner, King Charles painting reminds me of, well, Dracula, the poster from the movie. Slain by Elf said, did somebody say that painting looks like Charles emerging from the flames of hell? I don't think they did, no, Slain by Elf, you did.
Stop it.
And Narinda Kaur said, I love this portrait. It's magnificent. Will King Charles be the one to emerge from the bloody past of the monarchy and be the first monarch to apologise?
How? Hold on, bro.
OK, so, look, there's been some fun reaction. There's been some serious reaction and some, as you'd expect from social media, some appallingly distasteful and inappropriate reaction.
What do you mean by that?
Which we'll skirt over. But first of all, what do we think of the picture, Sarah?
My first reaction was, whoa, gosh, it's huge and it's red.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, the more I love this portrait.
Why?
Oh, my God! Because the face stands out. Everything else fades into the background. Jonathan Yeo's combined the traditional portrait, there he is in the uniform of the Welsh Guards, leaning on a sword, but made it contemporary. And all of that regalia actually fades into the background. And you just look at the man and that face and the detail of the monarch butterfly just touching on his shoulder, apparently proposed by the king himself during one of the
The significance of the butterfly is what?
Well, he wanted to talk about metamorphosis.
Stop it.
This is a project that's been going on for 4 years. It was commissioned in 2020.
4 different sittings, apparently.
4 different sittings between June 2021, November 2023, from the Prince of Wales to becoming the King. And so,
Are you serious?
So this shows that process of transition he's been through. It's also an endangered species. It's a nod to the King's love of the environment as
is it
well.
a nod to his own range, you think? Because it is a monarch butterfly. And
It's a monarch butterfly.
Species. I mean, it's all a bit uncomfortable.
Is it uncomfortable?
Well, I find that a little bit uncomfortable.
What do you think of the picture?
Well, as a woman of a certain age, I've got to say that it screamed to me of red mist.
Nice.
Rage, the way I feel when I sit in front of you, and even a bit of menstrual tension going on there. But I'm just
Menstrual
well, just a bit red. It was
Do
just
me a
scarlet.
bloody
That's all. It was
favour.
just a little bit scarlet. But actually,
You know why it's red, do you?
No, because of the Welsh Guards.
Yes.
And he used the costume, and then he
It's nothing
splattered
to
it.
do with your menstrual cycle.
You said but we all have our own personal response to art, and that was mine. If you're going to be, I was coming off an aeroplane, and I
You
was
literally looked at that painting and thought of your menstrual cycle.
I forgot my suitcase. I was so struck by it, actually, as I touched down in Gatwick yesterday. I was so blinded by this, red spot. Anyway, I then tried to think more academically or historically, and apparently it's all about the Red Prince, painted partly when he was a prince.
Are you serious?
Which also is a bit worrying, because it was when John of Gaunt was on his deathbed, ruining the idea of the next king, Richard III, and going, oh goodness, this sceptred isle, this, what is it? I think I wrote bits of it down. This other Eden, demi-paradise.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
I.e. the imperiled Britain. So is Charles overseeing an imperiled Britain?
Well, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, are not working royals. They've made that repeatedly and screamingly clear to anyone who wants to hear it.
Wait for it.
Podcasters, authors, influencers, jam sellers, sure. But they left us in no doubt when they left Britain and the royal family that their royal duties were done. No more flower shows on a wet Wednesday in Stoke. So
That doesn't make sense.
it came as something of a surprise to many of us this week when the formerly royal couple landed in Nigeria in Africa to embark on what looked, sounded and felt very much like a normal official royal tour. In fact, it ticked every single box on the royal tour clipboard. There was a lavish welcome ceremony, festooned in traditional decorations and attended by glad-handing local dignitaries. There were
What do you mean by that?
photo opportunities at local schools and warm handshakes with beaming children. There was a visit to the state governor house with speeches and tributes from officials. This was certainly no holiday, nor was it a private visit. It was a renegade royal operation in full swing and a booming look at what you could have won message to their ailing family in Windsor.
Look at this.
Meghan even revealed that she is Nigerian after taking a DNA test. But as she explained to audiences in her typically humble and self-effacing style, the clues were there all along.
Are you serious?
And what has been echoed so much, really, in the past day by men and women alike is, oh, we weren't surprised when we found out that you were Nigerian. Oh, no. And,
Stop it.
and I say that mostly as a compliment to all of you, because what they define as a Nigerian woman is brave, resilient, courageous, powerful.
Humbling. That is the word you'd associate with her, isn't it? Well, Harry and Meghan knew exactly what they were doing, of course, and I'm sorry, I'm very cynical about it. In the build-up to their wedding, commentators heralded the boundary-breaking power of the newly biracial monarchy. That fact has been lost in the onslaught of race baiting the couple have unleashed ever since. But I know it's true because I wrote that myself on the day of the wedding. The actual royal family, meanwhile, has an increasingly fraught relationship with the former colonial nations, not helped by the brazen and discredited accusations of racism flowing from the Sussexes themselves. Prince William and Princess Catherine were pilloried for perceived missteps on a tour of Jamaica, where they shook hands with locals through a chain-link fence. The royals are met with ill-conceived demands for reparations and apologies for ancestral sins on every royal tour these days, culminating in King Charles saying this in a speech in Rwanda.
Wait for it.
It seems to me that there are lessons in this for our Commonwealth family. For while we strive together for peace, prosperity and democracy, I want to acknowledge that the roots of our contemporary association run deep into the most painful period of our history. I cannot describe the depths of my personal sorrow at the suffering of so many, as I continue to deepen my own understanding of slavery's enduring impact.
How? Hold on, bro.
Important to remember that it was Britain, of course, who began the end of slavery. Never gets mentioned in any of these debates. But they knew the context, the Sussexes. If one thing we learned about Harry and Meghan's family trashing, money-grabbing strategies since they quit the UK and the royal duty, is that they don't do anything by accident. Every frame of this trip was storyboarded for maximum impact, clearly the lucrative deals that fund their lavish Californian lifestyle.
He's serious.
Might be running a little dry. Rebooting this rent-a-royal racket is a profitable way of rekindling interest in their fading brand. Some commentators are even speculating that Meghan fancies herself as a future American president.
How?
And to be fair, the campaign slogans, well, they write themselves. Make America hate again, build back bitter, or maybe just lock her up. We'll join me to discuss all this, author and historian Tessa Dunlop, Laura Paula Rowan Adrian, royal editor Sarah Houston, and from Los Angeles, the royal commentator and the host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, Kinsey Schofield. Welcome to all of you. All right, Sarah, let's start with you. I mean, I watched this stuff there on a peripheral level, perfectly successful trip. I'm sure they're thrilled. The real concern is that we now have two royal families.
How? Hold on, bro.
We have the official royal family, who represent the monarchy, and we have these two now pretending that they are another official arm of the royal family. There ain't room for two, is there?
Well, what's marked about this, I've spent many a week and month covering royal tours, and this does look and feel like a royal tour. It had...
Are you serious?
All of the ingredients there. The difference being they weren't acting on the behest of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. They were invited by the Nigerian Chief of the Defence Staff.
What do you mean by that?
I don't have a massive problem with them going out to Nigeria to work around the Invictus Games. And actually, what Harry has done around the Invictus Games needs to be lauded and praised. Credit where credit is due. But
wait for it.
What they were doing is effectively what they wanted to achieve from that infamous Sandringham summit. They wanted to be financially independent. They wanted to go and live their lives away from the royal family, but they wanted to dip in and out where they could.
Fact.
They said they wanted to continue to support the Crown and the Commonwealth. And you'll remember that statement that was put out at the time of Megxit, where there was that comment, slightly veiled comment, that everyone can serve. Service is universal. And I think from their perspective, that's what they're doing, continuing to serve. But yes, it did look like a royal tour, and particularly notable because we haven't had any big royal tours.
No.
My disappointment.
The reason
like
for that...
this, because of COVID, because of the
Well,
King's
also,
health, for example.
let's remind ourselves, Tessa Dunlop, before you launch into your impassioned defence, no doubt, of how wonderful this all is, that the King of this country is currently stricken with cancer and can't perform the